Good morning, Flosstube. It's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome everyone to my channel this morning. I'm very glad that you're here with me. As promised, I'm back again this weekend with a couple of stacks of things to share with you. These are things that's been passed to me over the past few months while I was away, things I've purchased or bought online, and I can't wait to share these beauties with you. There was no way I could stitch all these in the time that I was away from you. I think I'm more of a collector than I am a stitcher, but I still like both. So we're going to just jump into it for today. So in my last video, I got lots of questions. I do like the questions. It helps me to decide what I want to share in the next video, but I got a lot of questions about Hank. Now, we adopted him a little over a year ago, so he's almost 2 now, or actually he'll be 2 next month, and we got him as a puppy. And our intention, the questions I got was like, I've not spoken to him. Is it possible I've given him away? No, if you can hear the pitter patter, he's still with me. When we adopted him to have him throughout his lifetime. It wasn't, there was never even a thought of possibly giving him away. So it was a commitment we made to him when we got him. But he's right here by my side where he normally is. He has bonded to me and I to him. He stays in the house. He does spend a lot of time outside though, and that's the way he prefers it. He has a bed right across the way there in the living room where he stays, but we do crate him in the evenings, and most of the time when we are away, he is outside. Only in the evenings is he in the crate. What does he like to do? He loves snacking when we snack. He loves fresh fruits, which I'm great with that, specifically bananas. I came home one day and he met me at the back door, and he's wagging his tail just 90 to nothing, and you could see how excited he was. I mean, he was wagging his tail so hard, he was wagging his whole body, and he had caught a dove. So he is a hunting dog, and he was proud of his catch, and he took me to the side of the house so I could see, and I had buried that bird. I had to apologize to it, and I did bury that little bird, but that's his nature. That's what we did. We got adopted a hunting dog, so that's just his nature. But he is our forever friend, and he's right here at my leg. Let me see if he'll cooperate so I can introduce you to him, or you can see he's about 82 pounds. He is lean and tiny and lean, but he is tall. Come here, Hank, here, come here. You put your paws on my shoulder, come here. Okay, you ready? 1, 2. 1, 2. You wanna look? Look at. I've got the windows open right behind me for the natural light, but because he likes to stay at the windows there, he's always on guard, always looking. Where's the babies, Hank? Where's Evie? He loves the babies. I've gotten a lot of questions about that too. We were very standoffish because he's still considered a pup when we brought the babies home, but he has done wonderfully with them. Both of my daughters have dogs as well. Jordan has 2, a Great Dane and a German Shepherd, and my daughter Chelsea has a lab, and they're great with the babies, but Hank is too. Just last weekend for Mother's Day, there's a love seat in the house we keep covered, and it's Hank's love seat. And that's usually where Jordan and her husband will sit, and they always leave room for Hank, and even if they didn't, he'd find a way up there anyway. But they sat Evie right beside him, and she just, with her look, she's just starting to put motion in her hand, and she's not gotten to the pinching phase yet, but she does this a lot. She's learning to wave, and she petted him the entire time she was there on the couch with them, which is so sweet. Waylon's he's still a baby. He's only 3 months, but Hank is very curious with him. And last week when I was changing Waylon's diaper, I think Hank realized that he is a boy, and he tried to play with him a little bit more. So I look forward in the next few months seeing them grow up along with Hank. The other questions I got was for my son Jacob. He is still in the Air Force. He will be getting out in October. He is still in Montana. Yeah, and he's doing great. Hank, shh, shh. I'm looking forward to having him home. He will be coming back home to South Carolina, but he's shared with me he doesn't intend for this to be where he lays down his roots, where he starts a family. So, but he does want to be closer than Montana. So I look forward to October, and I'm hoping to go visit with him in the next couple of months, and I'll look forward to sharing that time with you as well. So let's get started with the stitching, because that's why you're here. So in the last video, I shared with you this piece, and this is Forever in Peace by Sweet Wings Studio. And I gave this piece a start, and wouldn't you know, after the last video, I went to kit it up, and I'm missing a thread. So when I purchased it, I picked up at the shop I was visiting all the threads that they had in stock, because they're fancy flosses. So I picked up all the ones they had in stock that it was called for. So when I come home, I searched my stash for the remaining pieces, and of course I'm missing one thread, and it was DMC 3802. I did not have that in my reserves. It may be in a kitted up whip somewhere, and I just don't know it. But so I made a trip to Hobby Lobby. I did have another reason to go, but I picked up 3802, and because I seem to always have that one missing thread when I start a piece, I picked up some of the 100s DMCs. I think this is the one I picked up. This is the 3802, but the rest of them were just colors that caught my eye from the 100 grouping of DMC, because I don't have them, and I don't want to one day run up where I need those colors in something I'm stitching. But they're nice purples and periwinkles. They're hydrangea colors. And so I picked those up. And I also picked up some snips, and I'll share those with you a little more in just a second. But back to the piece, I did give it a start. I'm stitching the wording 2/2. The pattern calls for 32 count fabric, which I have. I don't have the call for color. What I do have is antique white, or is it antique ivory? One of the two. And I've completed everything you've seen here since we last saw each other. The flag itself is 1/1. Full coverage, and I'm stitching it one strand over 2 linen threads. And I like the way it's coming out. It's perfect for this upcoming Memorial Day holiday weekend, the unofficial start of summer. And that's why I decided to start this piece. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll get that one finished up, and I'm happy to share it with you today. So the other thing I picked up at Hobby Lobby was I got these Fiskars snips. And my goal this weekend was to finish the 2 ornaments for my grandchildren up, and you can see where I did a little snipping here. I was trying these out. The last time I finished up one of these ornaments, I used the long tipped scissors, crafting scissors, and I find that they're hard to maneuver on something like this. So embroidery scissors would be great, but I don't want to use my embroidery scissors for paper. So they had the Fiskars. I was thinking, well, I'll get snips. Snips are generally 4 threads, snipping yarn threads, sewing threads, that kind of thing. But I picked these up thinking I would use them and they would be easier to snip around the edges of that stitched paper. But the thing that I liked best about them is they have the sheath here to cover the tips of those scissors. So you're going to press this button, pull it back, and then you have the snips. Listen. They're very sharp. The knives here themselves are very sharp, and then the tip of the snips are very sharp. So when I gave it a try on the bottom corner of this, to be honest, it's still not what I'm looking for, because you're snipping like this and you're used to doing it a little differently with scissors. I found it a little less easy than the scissors, but then again, I only made a few snips, maybe 3 to 5 snips on this. So I will get that goal completed, because I will finish those pieces this weekend. I just won't be able to share them with you today, but I'm going to use these. Now, Hobby Lobby had them on sale last weekend. These are what I went in there for, this and that 3802 thread, and these were marked half off that day. So they won't be on sale this week, but just so you know, there are a a cheaper version of these. They're about half the price, but they don't have the protector sheath built into them, and they look a little medieval to me. Looks like something I would really cut myself on, so I felt a little safer with these. So now let's jump into the stash. So let me put this work in progress somewhere. Oh, one more thing before I get started. So last weekend was Mother's Day, and my husband got me a big potted sunflower. It was beautiful for me, and one for each of the girls because they love flowers like myself. And then my daughters made this, and so these are Evie's little feet in the orange, and Waylon's little feet in the yellow, and it said, "The best thing about having you as a mom is our children having you as a Grammy. Love, Chelsea, Jordan, Waylon, and Evie. Happy Mother's Day." Isn't that so sweet? Homemade gifts are always best. My little grandbaby's feet. Okay. These pieces that I have here, as I said at the beginning of the video, these are things that I picked up this past year, whether it be ordering them online, them being passed to me from other friends that maybe have finished the piece, or one of them is I visit a shop with a friend and someone had passed away and they had their magazine collection, which they invited us to look through, and I pulled out a few of those magazines. And just various shops I visited this year. So I visited Tudor Rose Needle Arts in Clarksville, Georgia, Panda's Crossing in Greenville, South Carolina. I know there's others that I have, maybe I'll remember when I get to them. But it's been a great year for purchasing cross stitch. I wasn't stitching, but I still enjoy cross stitching. Does that make sense? So anyway, so we're going to start with the first one. This is Artful Offerings, and this is Bless This House. I love this funky little bird. He is so cute. Got this one. And this is a few of the magazines that I was talking about that someone had passed these on from another stitcher who's no longer with us. And I got, oh, Hank. I picked up this one just for this piece here. Fall is my favorite time of year. And you have mums and Hank. There's a stray cat in the neighborhood. No. There's a stray cat in the neighborhood, and it loves to tease Hank by walking back and forth in front of the house. Hank, that's enough. But this is why I purchased this one. That's why I picked that one up. And then there's this one. Hank, that's enough. I think that I have this one, but I wasn't sure, so I picked it up anyway. And this is one of the, I can't think of the name of the designer. Let me look real quick. It doesn't even say. How could it? Paula Vaughn. It does say. I think I have that one, and I think this is the one I started. A few friends, my giggles, and I started Paula Vaughn pieces a couple of years ago, and I think this is the one I started, and I'm not 100% certain. Either that or I borrowed Mary's magazine. I'm not sure. So when I saw this, I picked it up. So in case that was the thing that I had Mary's magazine, I could keep this one and send hers back to her. And then I picked up this one. This is Cross Stitcher Magazine, January of 2006. And there's a piece in here. I marked them. But there's a piece in here that I wanted to do for the grandbabies. Now, I will definitely change the color up. I'm thinking of doing it maybe, I think there's a color, Weeks Dye Works, is it old blue jeans or maybe it's denim, and do it in that color. In my mind, it's the same color as Old McDonald's overalls, and do that in here. I have a book for the babies that we're already reading Evie, that is an Old McDonald book. And then I picked up the Cross Stitcher, April 2002. This is the cover. And I don't like the way these are finished, but I like this piece here. And then I picked up one that had Christmas in it, and it's December 2005 of the Cross Stitcher. And I've got a couple of pieces marked in here. And one is this one. I love Christmas tree patterns. This one is not very involved. It's beautiful. It has just enough detail to make it interesting. But I love this. And then there's another. I also love poinsettia. And there's this one. And this one's finished up as a pin pillow or small ornament pillow. And I like that one. So that's why I picked those up. And then this is Cross Stitch Magazine, number 47. And is this the one that has the, oh my goodness. Christine and I really laughed about this one. We had stacks. There was maybe, I don't know, 4 or 6 stacks of magazines that we were looking through. And this one, you know, you're browsing through, you don't have time to really give a lot of look to every page, and we're just scanning through, and I caught this pattern like this. I was like, what is that? Did somebody really design a black bra? And what is it? Why is this part extended? It's not a bra. We laughed about that, but if you look at it and you're looking at it quickly, we laughed for probably 20 minutes about that, but it's actually a sewing table. And I didn't intend to bring this home. I intended for this to stay at the shop, but Christina had it. And then I have this one. This is a Leisure Arts magazine from 1992. And I picked this one up because this year my sister gifted these to me. She has been crocheting and she got was it a dish rag of the month? So this was her March dish rag. Of course, it's a 4-leaf clover. And then she had this one, which is an apple. And she gave me 4 of them total, and I let my daughters choose 2. I think one of the girls chose a snowflake, which was done in like periwinkle colors, white and periwinkle. And I don't remember, I think maybe the other daughter chose a strawberry. So anyway, I love these. I love them and I love having them. I know they'd be great for their intended purpose, but I don't want to use them. So my sister did these. And so the magazine, I was flipping through, and it has a strawberry pattern, crochet strawberry pattern there. They call it strawberry coasters. So these are for drinks. And I thought I would do those one day in a time far, far away. And then this is Cross Stitcher magazine. What is the year on this? It's covered up. I'm not sure. That magazine, and I got the Irish toast, and it says, "An Irish toast, may your neighbors respect you, trouble neglect you, the angels protect you, and heaven accept you." And I really like that. I'm the descendant of an Irish immigrant from my mother's side. It was actually my mother's great-grandfather, so my great-great-grandfather. His name was Delonigan Dial. All right, so we also have For the Love of Cross Stitch, and this is January 1998. And Santa's cute too, but he's not the reason I got this one. I picked up this one for this design right here. I've always wanted to stitch this in the way of the old stamped cloth where you do the embroidery and do the Home Sweet Home. I've seen them in many of the antique stores that I've went into, and I wanted to have one eventually for myself. So I picked up that one. So that's the end of the magazines for now. Everything else is either thing, patterns with fabric or just patterns. So the first of those is Honey Fair, which I was supposed to be working on now instead of Forever Peace. Sorry, Kitty. Kitty and I stitched the Strawberry Fair together along with the Stitch Along with Helen D. And when this one come out, Kitty asked me if I wanted to stitch it with her, and I said sure, and then I couldn't find the pattern. And somehow I had stuck it in the bag with all these other pieces that I had purchased that I wanted to share, and in my mind, I didn't look there because I didn't think I would have stuck it there, but I did. Kitty's already finished hers. She started hers about a month ago, and I was to start it last weekend, but she had finished hers, and so I decided to pick up Forever and Peace instead. And I'll get back to this Kitty and get it finished up with you, but hers is just gorgeous. You can find Kitty on Instagram. I will link her in the description box below so you can go take her, give her a look. And I picked this up in a bin at Panda's Crossing. It was older patterns. I don't know whether they belong to a shop or at one time were in someone else's stash, but I really loved this bird here. I love the look of all of these pieces, but that bird, it gives you two ideas, this one and this one, of how it will look stitched up, and I really love it on this darker fabric. And this piece was originally $4, and it's not hand drawn, I don't think. Yes, it is. It's a hand drawn pattern, and it's by Cross and Patch, and I'm looking for a date on it, and I don't see one. Look on the back. Yep, 1988. There's still some beauties in those old patterns, aren't there? Picked up this. This is Luminous Fiber Arts Gathering Stitches. I don't know whether she just come out with a newsletter, but I signed up and am new to her newsletter this week. And with subscribing to her newsletter, she sends you a free pattern. And I got that this weekend, downloaded it on my iPad. This is the Blackberry Rabbit, the Visitor. I've seen several of you stitching this, and I think it is gorgeous. This will be my first Blackberry Rabbit piece. And then I picked up another of the Satsuma Street pieces, and this one is for me. This is Cat-O-Lantern. So again, everything's inside that's needed, so that gives me two Halloween pieces for me. One that I picked up last weekend, and then this one. And this is an old one too that was in that same bin with the one that I just showed you with the Fractor Bird. This is Cedar Hill Bouquet for two. Does that say tune? Bouquet for tune. I think it meant two. I don't understand bouquet for tune. But I think I don't know that I will do the alphabet, but the flower itself is gorgeous. And then I picked up this one along with the fabric, and I will eventually be stitching this with my stitching along with my friend. This is Crowns and Shields. I will be doing this one on the Sanguine Linen in the red. Isn't that gorgeous? And that would look good with those birds. Maybe not. It may fade. This is not quite as dark as that one. It's an idea, wasn't it? And my friend will be stitching this one down here. And just so you know, if you have this pattern and you didn't already know, there is an error. So you'll have to look up the error. But the alphabet itself, okay, it's missing. It stops at Y. Let me see if I can do that better without showing everything. I'm not. It just ends in Y. So there is a correction for the entirety of this piece, so just know that if you haven't started it yet. And then this is, I'm not even going to pronounce the designer because I don't want to mess it up, but it just popped in on a suggestion from me in 1-2-3 Stitch when I was ordering something else. And I love this. So it has the pin pillow, the scissors fob as well. And then I kitted this one up right after market up at Panda's Crossing. I don't have all the threads. I've seen one or two people on Instagram stitching this, but I fell in love with it when this is the one of the ones I definitely saved in my wish list for market. So here's some of the threads. I only have 4 of them. So it's Classic Colorworks and Weeks. And this is Eliza's French Birds. I'm a pink girl, so this really appealed to me. And I picked up 32 count. This is not coming out true. This is a muted tone of my shirt. My shirt is coming out true, but this fabric is not. It's more pinky than it's showing here, but this is Colonial Parchment Linen, 32 count, and I'm gonna stitch her on that. I think it calls for something else. Yeah, it calls for R&R Productions Espresso. I'm happy to have that one. Oop, let me get it all back in. Pardon me just a minute, because I know if I don't put this back together and I walk away from this table to do yard work like I plan to after the video, I'm not gonna remember. My brain is really fuzzy at my age. This one I think come out last year at market, and this is Round Red Sampler Heart and Hand. I have really been giving Heart and Hand lots of looks this year. I finished the 2023 Collector's Heart. I finished one of the Santas, I think the 2022 Santa this year. She really is drawing my attention this year, and I've gotten several of her pieces. But I went ahead and I'm not using the Call For Red. I picked up a piece of fabric to do it on, and I'm gonna use Mulberry. And I picked up the Heartware bowl for it as well. And those were all up at Panda's Crossing. And then I picked up this one. This is one I want to do for Evie. This is Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. Oop. Through my childhood, you know, as a child, when I would get scared, I would sing this to myself, whether it was laying in bed because it was dark and I was scared. Whenever I was scared, I would sing this to myself. And I love everything about it. It's very childlike to me, and I think that it would be something that would appeal to Evie. So it'll probably be something I stitch within the next year. And I picked up this Tiny Modernist. Again, I love fall, and this can be a quick little pin pillow. And then another Heart and Hand, Love You More, Merry Making Mini. And it comes with a few beads. I picked this one up off of Etsy. Good Things Come to Those Who Stitch by Lizzie Kate, along with the fabric. I give you one guess who this fabric's by. Anyone say Witchelt? You would be right. And then another Heart and Hand. And this is the 2017 Santa. I think I seen Jen of Jen stitch this one up and loved it. She stitched it on the red that it called for. It has a few little beads in it. And I don't know if this is the call for. Let's see, what does it call for? Aztec red. And that's what I have. I have the call for Weeks I Works linen. So it's a little less red than the actual photo, but I love this color shade better. And then this is one that I picked up to stitch for later on this year for my anniversary. My husband and I will celebrate our 30th year of marriage this year. And this is the design I chose. And it's by My Big Toe. It gives you several different color variations, and it says, above all, love each other deeply. When I chose Clint and brought him home, I was giving him a forever home too. Moho Stitches. This is Among the Roses, an antique sampler, another bird. And I also picked up a piece of fabric for that one. So usually when you see the fabric, that means most of the time I've got it off of 1, 2, 3 stitch and went ahead and the fabric's kind of hit and miss when I order on 1, 2, 3 stitch. One day I go and I hit it just on the right day and they have all the fabrics. And then maybe 2 or 3 days later you go back and there's nothing. It's just the way it goes though. So this piece, I like the piece on the front. A friend gave this when we got together for a stitch, and she had brought a few magazines from her cousin to lay out for any of those of us that would like to take them home with us, and I picked up this one. And this one I was actually searching for last night. I really want to do this. This is on my like soon list because it's something different. I ordered this from an Etsy seller, and it looks like it may be a Russian maybe seller, but it is a kit that has this board, the backing, the thread. I ordered this right before Christmas, and I just love everything about this because it's different. Let me let you see. I've already taken it out at one point and looked at it. So this is the front, or maybe that's the front, but you get the idea so you can see behind it. It's just one of those laser cut pieces of wood. And then you'll also stitch those two together. So this is the backing piece, but as you can see, the stitches on both, you're gonna be stitching them together. So it'll be an easy finishing piece. And it's going to be beautiful when it's done. So let me show you the picture again. And then everything, as I said, is inside. All the threads and everything are carded. And I don't even know what it's called because I can't read that. And then this one I picked up on a trip with my husband, and he actually chose this sampler. And this is by Antique Sampler Company, Catherine Armstrong, 1856. This is the reproduction, and got a 36 count Edinburgh cream to stitch this one on. I don't have the colors yet. I will order those at a later time. This may be my New Year, New Start for 2024. Maybe a birthday start. Let me put everything back together. Just a few more, I promise. And then there's this one, Tiny Town. A lot of you are stitching this one. It also comes with, again, a few buttons. And I'm really excited about the beach one. I will eventually get that one as well. I think it was just recently released. I see where some of the shops have been posting that they have them. But I love this one. And this is a la-di-da. This is flower pot. It does say flower pot. Flower pot roll up. So I'm all about the intimidating finishing here, but I'll get it done. I'll figure it out. And then this one come out at market as well. And they were not ashamed. So it's an Adam and Eve sampler by la-di-da. And as I said, it came out at market this year. This is one of the ones I had on my list to pick up, and so I had that. And this is an oldie but a goodie, and I ended up buying it because not only did 1, 2, 3 at the time have the pattern, they also had not the exact fabric, but a close one. So I picked up this fabric, and it's called Peach Rose, and it's Lagana, which I love to stitch on Lagana for things like this. But aren't those adorable? Thinking of those grandbabies. Just a couple more. And I purchased this project pouch from Rivertown Designs on Etsy. And it fit this design perfectly. So the itch to stitch, this pattern's by October House. And I think I've seen someone stitching this one as well. I think it come out right before market, didn't it? Or maybe it was market. But I love that one. And I don't have any intention of kitting this up with what it's called for. If I get a piece of scrap fabric that will fit it, I will use the threads from Stash and just do every one in a different shade of red. But isn't that bag just as cute as it can be? And then I have one other thing that I've kitted up, and it's in this bag that I got from Blue Ribbon Designs from her Etsy shop. But I was mainly going for this. Now, I have a few of the corner gauges, but I did not have one of the clear corner gauges. So her corner gauges are found like this in pouches on her Etsy shop. And you can see through it. I'm gonna take it out of this pouch. I don't have a treat. So let me see. So you can see it here. I really like it. So I think this will become my favorite corner gauge. And I love that she's got a pouch so that that plastic doesn't get scratched up too much. I can keep it safe and protected. And of course this bag. And inside, I have some fabric to stitch another heart and hand, and this is Oh By Gosh, By Golly. And I've pulled a few of the threads just in the DMCs. Trying to go through and use up a lot of my DMCs. And this one I'm about to share with you is the last one, but I shared it for last because I was happy to find this one. I have the Lord's Prayer in my kitchen, and I remember seeing this sampler years ago because it's by Hillside Samplings. And when I come across it, I had to have it, and I kitted it right then. So I was at Panda's Crossing. These are the colors. I bought the DMCs, the fabric, and this is A Child's Commandments. Isn't that cool? So I actually do have two 10 Commandments patterns. One I did, which was by Silver Creek Samplings. I've shared it before. It's a very long, slender piece, and I stitched it years ago on a Lugana over 1 when my eyes were much better. And that will probably be the one that is gifted to the children, the grandchildren. But this one will be for me. I absolutely love that border. I want to start it like now. And it was a toss-up between the Sweet Wing Studio last weekend and actually this one. But I have so many little things that I have kind of committed myself in the next couple of months. One being the honey fair with my friend Kitty, and I have a stitch along coming up with my friend Christine, and the piece for my anniversary. I'm going to need to put this one off, and I really don't want to. And I don't want to start one that I'm not starting and finishing, because the whole purpose of this year is to finish things as I start them. But I'm really itching to stitch this one. I mean, it's just really drawing me in. I love, there's not much about this one I don't like. I love the wise men. You've got the Moses and the burning bush down here. And just that flower border. So I hope you're all still here. I hope you enjoyed that. Actually, that wasn't my last one. I have two tiny little kits. So this is Praiseworthy Stitches. It's a Busy Bee pinball kit. Has everything inside you need to stitch that up. Isn't that cute? It's so very cute. And one other I picked up at a quilt shop I went into, and it's a flower pin cushion. And you use the base of a small terracotta pot to make it, and all the fabric is inside. Everything's needed that's needed to finish it up. And they had them on the cutting counters of that particular shop I visited, and I wanted to make one to put my unused needles in when I finish up a project. And I love how you like those colors. Let me show that fabric. That didn't give you a good idea of that fabric. Isn't that pretty? So this will be the petals of my flower. So it's the felt, or actually that's the petals, and then it has the what do you call it? You know what it is. I can't think. And then these will be the actual petals. So it'll be a really busy little flower, wouldn't it, on it? But anyway, now that is it. So thanks everyone for stopping by and visiting with me today. after this video, I'm gonna go outside and spend a good bit of the afternoon in my flower garden. We've got a loaded truck again. We do that almost every weekend, but this past year we had a long cold spell, which is unusual here to get so many cold snaps. And the last summer really damaged my gardenias, which were in front of the windows in my bedroom. And then the cold snap happened and it finished a couple of them off. So instead of having bald spots or having new plants with mature, we just removed all of them. We enriched the soil last weekend. Today we need to level that out. We have hydrangeas and lilies down one side of our house. So last weekend we did all the weeding, all the mulching there. We actually added a new hydrangea. Today we're going to finish out leveling out where we removed the gardenias. We're going to add some rose bushes there. I will put more gardenias there eventually. And then I'm going to fill in some holes where it also damaged a lot of our daylilies. We had a lot of daylilies in the front yard. And so we're going to replace a good many of those. So we just got a lot of work to do. And we've let the time get past us because we've spent a lot of weekends away. And when we do that, slowly but surely we're creeping into summer, and those are the months that make it so much more difficult to get outside in the yard. This backyard, my backyard is neglected this year because having Hank, he's a digger. Anything new we add, he thinks it's his toy, so he rips it up. So we've kind of, other than around the oak tree, we have a large turkey oak in the backyard, and there are flowers, hostas there. He's not bothered those. We have a mandevilla up against our fence. He's not bothered those. So we are going to put a new mandevilla vine out there today. I picked it up on the clearance rack. Every time we go in Lowe's, we go visit our friend Clarence. All those plants, if you don't do that and you love flower shopping, and maybe you already do, we love to go visit the clearance rack because it's just flowers that maybe have lost their flowers and they're going to come back next year. They're annuals, and they're like half price. So I don't have a problem with planting something that the flower is gone, because next year it's going to come back in force and give me those flowers for loving it anyway. So we did some clearance shopping with my friend Clarence today. So we have a few rose bushes, and we have about 10 bags of mulch to put in after we get everything layered off, and then we've got to hit the large flower bed in the front yard. So that's going to take a weekend or so. So anyway, everyone have a great week. Enjoy it with whatever you're going to be doing. I hope you enjoy it, whether it be gardening, stitching, spending time with family. And until next weekend, hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.